Hey friends, welcome back to Simply Home and Harvest. I'm Jen, and today I'm going to take you along with me as I work on some outdoor projects. We have a beautiful day here today. It's going to get up in the probably close to the high 60s, and I've just got some of those projects outdoors that I've been putting off, like getting up some weeds, blowing some leaves off of our garden beds, working on the Green-Stalk, and just kind of sprucing up some things. So I thought I would take you along for that. Also, we're going to make a brand new recipe tonight, and I thought you might like to see that as well. It's called a Cowboy Casserole. It looks super simple. It's one of those viral recipes that's been circulating around on the internet, so I thought we'd give that a try. So let's get going today on a very busy work day. Okay, so first off, I thought I would just take you around and kind of show you what I want to do today, and maybe over the next several days, we'll see what we can get done today, and then we'll just go from there. First off, I wanted to show you guys the forsythia. I don't know if you remember this last year, but I picked this up at Aldi, and it was just kind of like a little stem with a couple of buds on it. And I put it in this pot because I really didn't have a place to plant it out, and I still don't really know what to do with it. But now it's really blooming. You can see all the growth still to come. We've got these stems back here with the green blooms, but then we've got the beautiful forsythia flowers. So, you know, maybe in a couple of years it'll be a forsythia bush, but right now it's looking pretty good in this little pot. So I got to decide what to do with it. So that's on the list. And then here's the Greenstock. Now take a look at this. Look at all of these strawberry plants that came back from last year. I just kept it covered over the winter, but you'll see, aren't they looking so pretty? So we just need to get in here and clean these up. Even some of those babies that we took, like the I can't think of the name, runners, that's the name. The little runners, we had taken those and just kind of worked them into the soil down below, and I had a few of those to take. So there's one of the runners. I think that's one right there. This one might be one as well. So we've kind of got them sporadically all over. And then I've got some lettuce that I think we're gonna pop into our Greenstock this year. And maybe some herbs. I haven't quite decided yet. You see the birds are very noisy today. That's one of our projects. And then I've pulled some of our cushions out of our storage building. They need to be cleaned. I haven't gotten to putting this cushion on yet. Then I have this that was given to me by a friend. It was actually like one of those baker's racks. And I don't know if you remember seeing it last year, but it had, like, you know, it was wooden table, and then this had wooden shelves on it. Well, it wasn't weatherproof, and I did try to put some Thompson's water seal on it to make it weatherproof, but it did not work, and it ended up, the wood just ended up rotting and absorbing all this moisture. So we took it apart and we saved the metal pieces, and I think what I'd like to do is maybe put some sort of raised bed up on top of this. Maybe we could even use that as a trellis this year. So that's my thought there. Got a lot of empty pots, of course, that will get filled. I brought some of the seedlings out here because they did not take. I had showed you where I had spinach and radishes coming up, but once I moved that, because it wasn't sturdy on the bottom, the dirt started to like crack, and I lost all those seedlings. So I'm going to talk about that too. Our seedlings did not do well. All right, so that might be better if we ran inside to see. It looked like I had things coming up, and then all of a sudden, nothing. I had these downstairs under grow lights. I did not have a mat, but I was trying the grow lights out this year. And this has never happened before, where I had like absolutely no success, no productivity. Now let me show you, I can pull these out, my tomatoes and cucumbers, because I think the soil got some type of fungus. Now this is a new soil that I had gotten from Rural King. Now you see this tomato plant looks okay if this was like, you know, day 10 and had just come up, but it's looked like this for like 2 weeks now. Just no progress. And you can see some of the other plants have like that, like a webby kind of white over the soil, and the soil is pretty wet. I've tried to let it dry out a little bit. There's holes down the bottom of the cups. Like I said, I've done tomato plants and cucumbers in cups before, so I really think it was the soil that I bought at Rural King, which I can't remember the exact soil, or it was something, okay? I won't point fingers, you know, sit here and point fingers all day. These are the cucumbers, and like I said, if this was just the beginning, I'd say, okay, and I'm just gonna let them ride to see what happens, but they've been looking like this for 2 weeks. Like they've just stopped. They came up and then they just stopped. So if it is a fungus, obviously we don't want the plants. But I think I'm just gonna, like I said, let these cucumbers kind of do their thing. Everything else I think I'm gonna toss. And then I went to one of our local garden centers that actually has just changed ownership. And I was just curious. I thought I would just drive by there and see what was going on. And I ended up stopping. And I don't even know that I've ever bought lettuce already started, y'all. But I did this year. So this is a black-seeded Simpson, which we grew some black-seeded Simpson seeds that did not germinate. And then we've got romaine lettuce. And so this is 2 4-packs. So I think I'm gonna try these in the Greenstock. I don't think I'm gonna put them in the actual garden, although I do have some other lettuce that I had picked up at Aldi, actually, right before I went to this garden center. And I thought, well, hey, maybe I'll just try it. And then lo and behold, if I didn't get the same thing already started. So we're gonna see what happens with this. Whoops, lost one. Like I said, I may put those in the ground if we get it tilled up this week. We'll see. Lettuce is something we can go ahead and start. And then they had these tomato plants tucked in the back. They had not even made it out to the main greenhouse yet. And I told him, well, I'm just going to put these in my garden window. So they are a lot further ahead than I had ever planned to be. And I may actually have to put these in larger cups because there is no way we're putting these out in the garden anytime soon. It's only March the 27th here. Our average last frost date is April 15th. So there's no way they're going in before the end of April. So we're going to have to make them extra comfy while they wait. But I think that was a German Johnson. I got a beefsteak, a German Johnson, and then a Better Boy. You see that one back there. They didn't have any Romas. So we just might not have Romas this year. And you know what, guys? I'm just going into this year like, whatever happens, happens. We're just going to do our best, and our garden might look completely different this year than it ever has, and that's okay. So that's a project we want to take care of, but I don't want to leave y'all on a sad note. Let me show you something that actually is doing well. Do y'all remember the bulbs that we planted in this planter? Well, look, they're coming up. I do need to water them some, but I did put some fertilizer in here, which I'm also going to put some fertilizer in with those strawberry plants. I don't know if I mentioned that or not. But you see that just about everything is at least up. We got some tulips that just did come up. And I don't know how they're going to do. But hey, the fact that they've made it this far is encouraging. And like I said, we might have some blooms by Easter. Since I'm on the front side of the house, I'll just show you. This is another project over here to get all these leaves out of our mulch. And all these pesky little onions. Y'all know that we basically have to pull those by hand and get them from the root, or they come right back. So got to get in here and get all this grass out, but just a lot of cleanup. Not only is the trampoline gone, which we took care of that last year, but now the playground is gone. So we have this nice open spot here, and we've talked about putting in an orchard, apple trees and all that. So that's something I really want to go ahead and do. I don't know if we're going to get it done or not, but that is the plan. We talked about a greenhouse. That's something that is in future plans, but that is not going to happen this year because we really do want to transition over to some raised beds in our garden. And yeah, we've got a lot to do. It'll be interesting to see what gets done and what gets put off to another season. You guys, I'm gonna give this some water, but first, and if you're not familiar with the Green-Stalk tower planter or garden or Green-Stalk garden, I got this last year, and so I've got a full video on it if you want to go back and look at how we put it together and what it involves. It's very nice to have, like if you have limited garden space, you have a nice deck or sunny area that you can put this, and it's just really easy to grow things, and then everything's in one spot. But our strawberries, last year, if you remember, we got these strawberries. One of my dad's church members gave him some strawberries, and they were kind of dormant when we got them, and they were wrapped in newspaper, and I think I only had like maybe 8 to 10 of them, and we planted them out. Well, then they all produced shoots from the mother plant, and I used those landscape pins right there to secure them in some of the other spots. And for the most part, a lot of them came back. Really, the majority of them came back, and you can see that we even have some strawberry blooms starting to form. So that is so encouraging. Since we lost all those seedlings in the garden window, this is really nice to see. I saw another one with a bloom on it, but look how healthy they look. And I'm just so excited. I'm hoping that we'll get a lot of strawberries from them this year. We didn't really get much last year because it was the first year that we had them, and we had transplanted them, so that made a big difference. But you'll see we've got even a couple down in the lower parts, and that's just because of those shoots those runners that we tethered with the landscape pins, and it allowed those little baby plants to take root, and now they will grow and produce new runners. I only counted 7 spots or 7 available openings for new plants, just because we've got this lavender, of course, that died back, some oregano, there's some thyme down here, and I did a little Googling, and it looks like this stuff will come back. Now, I don't want to take up a spot if it's not going to come back. So if any of you have experience with herbs from year to year, you know, I know that herbs are perennials because I have rosemary that comes back every year, but I need to know, is this going to come back? Am I wasting my time leaving these here? Because we could use that space for something else, and the same thing with the thyme. So lavender, oregano, thyme is what I've got in here. All right, let me know. So I just realized I haven't been able to show you all this because it's the first time I've used it. But look what my sweet daughter got me for my birthday. Now, if you watch Garden Answer with Laura, then you will know that this is a Garden Answer kneeling pad, a real one, official. And I love it. Look how large it is. So we're going to definitely put it to the test today. I'm going to get down on the ground here and get out all these onions and clean up and spare my knees. All right, you guys, we are back inside. We finished all of our projects for today. Now, we didn't get everything done, but we will just have to do it another day. Our battery-powered blower, the batteries were dead, so we couldn't use that to finish the job around the front. So we'll just get to that another day. It's no big deal, but right now it's time to fix some dinner. So we're gonna make this new recipe. Like I said, Cowboy Casserole is the name of it. I'm going to tweak it a little bit. I will tell you like what the actual directions are for it. Also, I'm going to type it out for you and leave it in the description box below so you'll have it there as well. You won't have to worry about all the measurements and all those things as you watch this. But it sounds very simple, just very basic, and I think we've had something similar to this before. I'm gonna pair it with some baked beans. We've got some leftover macaroni and cheese in the fridge. I thought about making some sweet potatoes, but I think I'm gonna save the sweet potatoes for another recipe just because we have other leftovers, and that way we can use those up. All right, well, I'm gonna show you the ingredients and then we'll get started. So our casserole calls for a pound of ground beef, lean ground beef, that we're supposed to go ahead and cook while we're going to saute an onion, garlic, and then cook our ground beef. But I had this in the freezer already cooked. It is only 12 ounces, but we're only short by 4 ounces. I don't think that's going to make a huge deal. This is supposed to cook in a 9 by 13 dish, and I may just actually reduce the size of the dish just because we don't have as much hamburger. We'll see. Maybe not. I'm just going to kind of go with that. And then we are supposed to have an onion in this recipe, but you guys know by now that Tim does not like onions and things. So we're just going to use minced garlic, but we are going to add in the minced onion. I can get that to cook down, and he doesn't recognize the flavor or anything. It's just the crunching that he doesn't like. We're going to need a box of Red Lobster Cheddar Bay biscuit mix. You can also get the off-brand. I know Aldi has a really good one. And then we're going to need some mayonnaise, some sour cream, a couple of types of cheese. The recipe calls for sharp cheddar cheese shredded. We're going to shred all this. It also calls for some pepper jack. I do not have pepper jack, but I happen to have Monterey Jack, so that's what we're going to go with. It also called for a packet of taco seasoning, which I did not have, but I had this Fiesta Ranch seasoning that we're going to use instead. So all in all, it's going to still be the same general idea of the recipe. We're just going to tweak it a little bit by using what we have on hand, and you could do the same thing. You could add stuff to it. You could take out. You make this recipe your own. That is the beauty of cooking. You can do what you want to do. Whatever suits your family, that's what you should do. Okay, let's get over to the oven. Okay, so this is the point that you would add that half of a chopped onion, and you would get that all sauteed for about 3 minutes, and then you would add for about an additional 30 seconds 2 tablespoons of garlic. So I'm using the jarred minced garlic here. You could totally use the fresh. Gonna get this just brown for, like I said, about 30 seconds. It does not take long for garlic. You definitely don't want it to burn because that would not be very pleasant in your dish. All right, now since I already have the cooked hamburger, I'm just gonna add that in at this point and just get it heated through, kind of get that garlic incorporated there. This is also the time that I'm going to add in that minced onion just for an additional little bit of flavor. So this is the point that you would also drain off any excess grease, but because this is already cooked ground beef, we don't have that because we did that when we cooked it the first time. Like I said, we're just using our skillet just to kind of get everything incorporated there. All right, so we're going to add in this Fiesta Ranch just to use up the rest of this. But if you have taco seasoning, that's what the recipe actually calls for. But I thought this would be maybe similar. You could also make your own taco seasoning. I need to show you guys how to do that. I have a recipe for it. Maybe I'll do a short on that one day soon. It's been on my to-do list, and it's just something I've never gotten around to doing. So I need to make sure I get that done, because it's nice to know like what you can substitute in if you don't have the actual ingredient or the actual package of something on hand, but you have the ingredients. All right, so we got that done. I'm going to go ahead and turn the heat off, and we're going to shred up some cheese. Okay, now we're going to take our biscuit mix, and we're just going to get this mixed into a bowl. And don't forget this little packet that comes with it, this little seasoning packet, which makes it the Cheddar Bay and not just a regular biscuit mix. I'm going to cut it well enough. Make sure you get that in there as well. You're just going to add to this 2/3 cup of water. And we'll just get. Okay, so now that we have this mixed together, we're just going to spread this into the bottom of our dish. I did decide to go with that 13 by 9. Now we're going to go ahead and add our hamburger right over the top. Oh my goodness, it smells so good with that Fiesta Ranch in there. That just might be the way we have it from now on. Even Alex came in and was like, Mom, that smells amazing. See, we can't even tell that that's not a pound. It looks like a pound, so I'm glad we went with that 13 by 9. Okay, the next thing we're going to do is add our sour cream and our mayonnaise. So this is just a cup of sour cream. And then we're gonna add half a cup of mayonnaise. Now you're just gonna add in a cup of your sharp shredded cheese because you're gonna reserve another cup of this and then a cup of that Monterey Jack for the top. Just kind of eyeballing that. If you want more cheese, add more cheese. If you like less cheese, add less cheese. All right, now we're just gonna add this right over the top. The next step is just to top this with the remaining cheddar cheese. So the only thing about shredding your own is, to me, there's nothing like it. But it is a little wetter when you do that and it sticks together, so it's hard to spread it, but still, to me, I think the quality is better and I like the taste better too. It just seems to do better overall. Melts better too when you shred it yourself. But convenience is nice too. So you do what you need to do. All right, now this is going into our preheated oven. We've preheated it to 350 degrees. We're gonna let it bake for about 30 to 35 minutes until all that cheese is melted and it's golden on top. All right, well, I hope you enjoyed today's video. Thank you so much for hanging out with me while we got that yard work done. It feels so good to have accomplished some outdoor projects, and then this cowboy casserole, oh my goodness. I cannot wait to dig in. I will definitely show you everything when it comes out and let you know how we enjoyed it. And I'm gonna tell you right now, I'm sure we're gonna love it. So I'm just gonna go ahead and sign off, and then like I said, I'll come back at the end and show you the finished product. So until next time, friends, remember to live simply, use what you have, enjoy the moments you've been given, and I will see you all in the next one. So I just wanted to give you guys a review on this casserole. I'm not going to show myself because I've already had my shower, but Tim just got home and had some, and you see how much has already been devoured, and I'm going to let him tell you what he thinks. Ella and Alex really liked it. I really liked it. I think you could use different flavors in it, but I love that Fiesta flavor. And what do you say, honey?
I love the flavor in it. I was thinking more of like a, what do you call it? Cheddar top casserole flavor.
So just plain.
Which is good, but more plain, yeah. I'm not much for the Fiesta, because I don't like taco seasoning anyway.
Yeah, well, I knew he didn't like taco seasoning, and I didn't even have it on hand. That's why we used that Fiesta ranch that we had left over. And I thought it would take it down, like take that taco seasoning out, but it did actually give it more of that Mexican flavor, which I liked, and I think the kids liked it. But we will try it again and maybe try to change the flavors up. So if you are not a fan of taco seasoning or Mexican type dishes, then you might want to leave that part out. But it was delicious, I thought. You could even add like hash browns to it or something maybe. But we had tater tots on the side, so we had our hash browns in there. All right, wanted to give you that review.